came into civil engineering mainly because I wanted to go into architecture. I really like designing and like the built environment. When I did art A level, that kind of like sparked my interest in like creativity, but I also wanted a bit of practicality to it. So I did do an internship in civil engineering and I did one in architecture, and I just kind of leaned towards the more civil engineer route, and that's kind of fell into it. My uncle's also a civil engineer, but I didn't know that until I started applying for uni, but it worked out when he was helping me for applications and stuff.
How does a degree apprenticeship in civil engineering differ from alternative pipelines?
So my apprenticeship is 6.5 years, so that's usually how long engineering apprenticeships are. They're structured as 1 day a week you're at university, 4 days of the week you're at the company working on projects and different schemes. I'm based in London South Bank University, so that's what my company chose for my training provider. How it differs is after the 5 years of university, which is part-time, you then have a 1.5 years to basically sit a professional accreditation. So with me, it's with the ICE, Institution of Civil Engineers. That's how it kind of differs from university. From university, you do bachelor's or a master's, and with the apprenticeship, you get a bachelor's, 5 years of experience, and a professional accreditation on top of that. The application is similar to applying for a job, for an internship or work experience. You need a CV or cover letter. Usually they kind of break down that process by giving you some like written strength-based questions. Some people believe that because they don't know much about civil engineering, it might be quite hard for them to start applying, but the best thing is just to kind of do your research about it. But they will ask you about your kind of basic knowledge of civil engineering, which is something you can get from asking someone, researching it yourself. With me, I had to have a CV. The only way it differs is that you don't need any prior experience. If you're a house captain or you're captain of a football team or you're part of any volunteering or anything, that's something you can put in. They normally start applications around November, October time, and then they kind of do all the way up till the following year, up till like March. I didn't apply for UCAS. This was purely from like government websites. You do have to do an interview, something to be prepared for, especially if you haven't had a job before.
What tasks do you typically get involved with within your degree apprenticeship?
So when I first started, I did something called hydraulic modelling, which is kind of an assessment of flooding when a new building or catchment has been added to an area. I did that for about 2.5 years. I enjoyed it, very stressful, a lot of optioneering, which is fun. Always good to like try different solutions to a problem. After that, I started doing more design work. So I worked on meter and valve replacements for different areas in London. We had a bit of surveying, a bit of site visits with that, which was good. Especially you get a lot of autonomy. In my third year, I worked more on building my management and leadership skills, especially like my commercial skills. So during that time, I worked as a document controller and I also worked as a project coordinator. So during this time, I had multiple disciplines I had to manage and oversee for different deadlines, which was good. A lot of people management and work management, but overall I enjoyed it. Good experience, especially as someone who's quite junior to the company. To get that experience to do any sort of management is always good exposure. Now I'm currently working with a client on another secondment, design side again, which is fun. Also going to treatment works and looking at solutions to our storm overflow problem. My responsibility has changed in the sense that in my first year, there was a lot of hand-holding, a lot of asking questions and focusing more on the development, understanding. As the years have gone on, I'm in my 5th and final year and I feel like I do have way more responsibility than I had when I was in my first year. A lot of people management, task management, as well as like delegating work, which is something I didn't think I'd be able to do in the stage I'm in. My responsibility has also changed when it comes to like final design solutions and having the autonomy to have optioneering and put my solutions to the client, to managers, which has been helpful. So I feel like I've got way more responsibility in my 5 years of my apprenticeship. When I first got my contract, they put me in water. There's so much to see in the water industry. There's structures within the water industry. You coincide with rail, you coincide with transport. So in that sense, that's how you get that experience from other disciplines. Also, while you're learning at university, you do learn all the disciplines. You do highway engineering, you do geotechnical engineering, you do structures, you do hydraulics. So if you don't get that at work, you will get it at university. And if that's something of interest to you, you can always explore it outside of work by going to events which specialize in those things, going to talks, going to site visits based on those disciplines that you're interested in.
How has the practical skills you've developed during your degree apprenticeship supported your academic studies?
During my apprenticeship, I have gained a lot of skills. I feel like I gained most of my skills actually from like sixth form. Those soft skills that you learn just from studying, from learning in school. So teamwork, communication, that was just kind of heightened during my apprenticeship. So working, a lot of teamwork. If you don't coincide with other people and you're members of your team, the job won't get done. I feel like that's one thing that's kind of helped helped. Patience, making sure you're meeting deadlines. Creativity is also a big part of it. So when you're designing pipework or any sort of structure, that's something that takes a lot of creativity, which you do learn at a young age. Like one of my group projects, we had to design a building extension for one existing building in our university campus. And I feel like that was something that I found quite easy, as that a project work that I would do usually at work anyways.
What qualification do you gain at the end of your degree apprenticeship? And what can career progression look like moving forward?
So at the end of my apprenticeship, I will gain a Bachelor of Engineering degree. I will also get accreditation with the ICE, so I'll be an incorporated engineer. Also, at the end of my apprenticeship, I'll have 5 to 6 years of work experience. So right now I have 5 years worth of experience in the civil engineering world, which is great for my development when I go look for other opportunities. Career progression, I want to look more into management as well as designing, so design management mostly. I still want to be in the water industry. The industry is something that's not going to die anytime soon. I was also possibly looking into a site-based role. As I'll be getting my IEng within the year, I'm going to be looking for a chartership with the ICE.
What advice would you give to someone who's looking to begin their degree apprenticeship journey?
Don't shy away from any opportunity that's there. So with me, I was organising events. I was a STEM ambassador. I'd go into schools and talk about engineering. Even though I was quite new to the career, I found that that's how I found my passion for it. The more I talked about it and the more I understood it, to just have a go at it. Like, give it your best. Ask as many questions as you want. Don't be afraid to ask for other roles you want to do. Do as much research as possible. Try and get an internship within civil engineering. That's the best way you can find out if you like it straight off the bat. Even if you just like looking at building, you find buildings pretty. There's always engineering in that. You can be a facade engineer, you could be a water engineer. Civil engineering, it covers everything.